Hello everyone, welcome back to CloudOps Craft. Today we are going to deep dive into Dockerfile, writing your own image. Okay, so far we have been pulling ready-made images like Nginx and Redis, but here is the question: what if you need a custom app that's not available on Docker Hub? That's where Dockerfile comes in. Yeah, Dockerfile is like a recipe card for Docker. Instead of downloading a like a pre-cooked meal, which is public image, you are writing down your own recipe. Okay, Docker follows your recipe step by step to prepare the final dish, your custom image. Even in our last class, we written like a simple Docker file to deploy a Python application, right? So today, like even last class I said we will learn Docker key instructions on next video, like that, right? So today what we are going to do is, first we are going to learn the key instructions that you need to know to write your own Docker file. So after knowing all the key instructions, we are going to write a Docker file. Okay, we are going to write our own Docker file, okay, which is needed one. Okay, in real time mostly we will pull the image from Docker Hub and we will write our own Docker file. Okay, so knowing how to write a Docker file is needed one. Okay, uh, in real time. Okay, let's start with the Docker keywords, which means like a Docker instructions define how to build a Docker image step by step. Okay, here is a detailed explanation of commonly used keywords. Okay, there are nearly 15 keywords out there. Okay, you have to understand it. Okay, so if you know that, you can write any Docker file for any application, okay, by your own. Let's start. First key instruction is from. Even last class we have used it, right? From. The purpose of from keyword is it specifies the base image for the Docker build. Okay. Syntax is from. You have to use image name. Okay. And tag. Okay, if you are using if you are writing Docker file for multi-stage, okay, then you have to use as and alias. Okay, for example, you can write like from Ubuntu latest, or from node 16. Okay, or you can write from Alpine 3.18. What it will do, it uses Alpine Linux version 3.18. If you are using from node 16, what it will do, it uses it uses node.js version 16 as the base image. If you are using from Ubuntu latest, then it will use the latest Ubuntu image. Okay, so the second key instruction is work dir. Purpose is it sets the working directory inside the container. All subsequent commands like copy or run are executed related to this directory. So the syntax will be work dir and path. Okay, for example, work dir /user/src/app. Consider this as a path. Okay, so all subsequent commands will be executed in this path. Okay, so third key instruction is add. Okay, the purpose is it copies files and directories from the host machine into the image. It also supports extracting tar files automatically, fetching files from remote URLs. Syntax is add source destination. Okay, for example, if I have a tar file, okay, I have to copy from the tar file, means I can simply use add app dot tar dot gz, consider this as my tar file. I can easily copy this file contents into the app folder, okay, with the help of add. Next is copy. Purpose of copy is it copies files and directories from the host machine to the image. Unlike add, it does not extract tar files or support remote URLs. You can just copy the files, okay, from host machine to your image, okay. You can't do extraction, or you can't download the files from URL and all with the help of copy, okay. That is the major difference between copy and add. Syntax will be same only, okay. So copy src destination, source and destination. Fifth is run. Okay, purpose is it executes command in a new layer on top of the current image. The resulting layer is committed to the image. The syntax should be run and the command that you are planning to run. Okay, for example, run npm install, so it will install node.js dependencies, okay, like that you can use. And next is cmd. Purpose is it specifies the default command to run when the container starts. The syntax should be cmd executable, and you can provide the parameters. Okay, for example, npm start. What it will do, it will run npm start when the container starts, okay. So next key instruction is entry point. Purpose is it is similar to cmd, but it configures the container to run as an executable. It is better suited for containers that require command line arguments. So syntax is it is also similar like cmd only. Entry point executable parameter 1 comma parameter 2, okay. Example is, for example, if you are going to run python application, then you can write like entry point python app.py, like this, okay. Next is expose. It should be in capital letter. Okay, purpose is it declares the network ports on which the container will listen at runtime. Okay, syntax should be expose, and you can provide the port. For example, expose 3000. So what it will do, it will open port 3000 for the container, okay. So the next key instruction is env. Okay, purpose is it sets the environmental variables in the container, okay. So the syntax should be env key and value, okay. So this is how we have to write. For example, env node env production, like this. Then this volume, volume. What it will do, the purpose is it creates a mount point for a volume useful for persisting data. Syntax is volume and path. Okay, example is volume data. Okay, and next key instruction is arg, which is argument. Purpose is it defines the build time variables. These are not available in the running container. Okay, so it will be available only in build time, which means whenever you type docker build, okay, on this process only it will be like available. Okay, once you created a image, okay, then while running this arg is not available. Okay, only in build time you can able to access this. Okay, so the syntax is arg name and default. Okay, for example, you can set like arg version equal to 1.0, and you can call this like a from ubuntu, and you can call this arg like version here. Okay, so by default it will take 1.0, and you can change this on the build time. Okay, so the next is label. Okay, purpose is it adds the metadata to the image. Okay, so the syntax should be label key value. Label, for example, label maintainer, and you can provide your email address here. So like if they have any doubts or if they want to clarify something, then they will reach you. Okay, since you are the maintainer of this image. Okay, so the next is user. Okay, the purpose is it specifies the user to use when running the container. Okay, the syntax is username or uid. Okay, so you no need to remember all these key instructions. Okay, once you started working with docker, automatically you can able to remember all those things. Okay, so since right, all my videos are available in medium also. Okay, so if you want to revise all these key instructions, you no need to watch this video again. Okay, so just go to my medium profile. I'll attach that link in the description, so you can revise that. Before going into, just have a look into it if you are new to docker. Okay, so it will be really helpful for you, because in interview they will ask what and all key instructions you have used and all. So you must able to say list all the key instructions and its use cases and where you used it. Okay, so you no need to memorize this. Okay, so on once you started working on it, you can able to recall it whenever you are writing a docker file. Okay, so you can for example, how you can use is user 1001, like that you can use. Okay, so the next is on build. Any idea on this key instruction? If you have any idea, just pause this video and let me know in the comment section, so I can understand your perspective. Okay, let me explain. The purpose is it adds a trigger instruction to the image. This runs when the image is used as a base image for another build. Okay, so the syntax should be on build, okay, instruction. Add app like this you can use. Okay, and next is L check. Any idea on it? Why we need health check? If you know, just pause this video and let me know in the comment section. Health check. It defines a command to test container health. Okay, so how you can write the syntax is health check, health check options, and you can provide the options, or you can provide the cmd command also here. Okay, based on your need. For example, how you can write is, if you want to test your health with the help of localhost, then you can write like health check cmd curl -f http localhost, okay, exit 1, like this you can write. Okay, so now you know the key instructions of Dockerfile. Okay, yeah, Dockerfile is just a text file with a list of instructions. Okay, each instruction creates a layer in the final image. Okay, so the typical structure will be there, right? So let me explain the typical structure of Dockerfile. So while coming to typical structure, we will use from, okay, for base image, and we will use run to install dependencies. We will use copy or add based on the need, okay, to bring your code in, okay, into the image. Next is work dir to set the working directory. Next is cmdr entry point. Okay, these key instructions must we will use, okay, to define default command. Okay, so this is how like this and all the key instructions are there, and this is the typical structure. Okay, so let me know, like, I have a question for you. What do you think we need a base image like python 3.9 instead of starting from scratch? The thing is, it saves time, it avoids reinventing the wheel. Okay, so what we can do is, using these key instructions, now we will try to build a docker file, okay, for python app. Okay, and we will try to we will try to check whether it is working or not. Okay, so we will have a good understanding. Okay, so what we learned, that we are going to implement. Okay, so let's go to virtual machine. Here I am using aws virtual machine. Okay, in real time you can use any virtual machine from any cloud provider. Okay, so let's start. Even if you don't have a cloud virtual machine, also no issues. You can set up docker on your laptop itself. Okay, if you are using windows or mac, then just install docker desktop. Okay, so that is sufficient to do this. Okay, so let's start. I'll create one folder. Okay, I hope it is visible. Okay, so let me create a folder, and I'll enter into the folder. I'll just create some sample Flask app. Okay, so we can use that to deploy. Okay, so vi app.py. app.py, and I'll write some basic code only. Okay, in real time, as a DevOps engineer, you will not write application code, since for testing here I am writing. Okay, it will be written by backend developers only. Like application will be built by developers, right? Our job is we just containerize it. Okay, so for like a demo purpose, I'm just writing a simple application just to print allow from Dockerfile deep dive. Okay, this is the content that we are going to print. Actually, this is a Flask framework. Okay, the written message that we are going to print is allow from Dockerfile. Dockerfile deep dive. And I'll just call this main app.run post port. I'll use port 5000. Okay, now we have written our app.py, which is our application code. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to write a Docker file to containerize this application. Okay, so let's write the Docker file. Okay, first what we are going to do, we are going to create a file, okay, which is text file Docker file. Okay, first we will start from to create a base image from Python. Since this is Python based application, I'll use Python as a base image, Python 3.9. I'll go with the slim. Okay, so my image size should be small, and I'll just use metadata. Okay, so label maintainer. Okay, maintainer is since this is since I'm posting this in YouTube, I'll just provide cloud opscraft at gmail.com. And now I'm going to create a non-root user and set work directory. Okay, so run command I'm going to use run. Okay, user add -m app user, and I'm going to make my directory work dir as app folder. So all my subsequent commands will run under app folder. Now I'm going to copy code before installing dependencies. Okay, so I have app.py, right? I'm just going to copy that into my app folder in the image. Okay, so copy app.py, I'm just going to copy that inside my Docker image app folder. Now I'm going to switch to non-root user before ending pip. Okay, so I'm just switching with the help of user app user. This is my username. Okay, so now only I'm going to install dependencies using --- user flag. Okay, so run pip install --- user Flask. Okay, so do you have any idea why I am using --- user and I am running Flask? Any idea? If you know, let me know on the comment section. Okay, even this is a YouTube recorded video. Okay, I want it to be interactive. So whenever I ask a question, if you're watching this video, okay, so just let me know your thoughts on the comment section. Okay, so I can understand like how you are thinking. Okay, so just pause the video and think and just let me know in the comment section why we are using hyphen user flask. Okay, because we can simply use pip install flask also, right? Run pip install flask, but we are using hyphen user, right? The reason is to install Python package flask into the non-root user home directory instead of installing globally. Okay, so you are telling pip that install this package into the user's local site packages folder, not system wide. Okay, so where does it install? It installs into home slash app user slash dot local slash lib slash python 3.9. Under site packages it will install. Okay, instead of by default, if you are just providing run pip install flask, it will install on user local lib. Okay, python 3.9 site packages folder. Okay, why this is needed in your docker file? Because you switched, like what we done, we switched the user to app user before installing dependencies, which is user app user. Okay, and non-root users cannot install global packages system wide since they don't have write permission. Okay, so if we use pip install flask, obviously it could fail. So only to avoid failing, I'm just using pip install hyphen user flask. Okay, it fixes by installing flask locally for app user. Okay, so if I use run pip install flask, means it installs globally, it requires root permission. But if I use pip install hyphen user flask, it installs to user's home directory, works without root. Okay, so this is the concept behind this. Okay, now I am going to expose port and run the app, and I'll expose this into 5000 port, and I'll run the command cmd python python app.py, since I created name as app.py. Okay, okay, so let's save this. Now how to build a Dockerfile? Do you remember how to build Dockerfile? There is a command, right? The command is docker build. Okay, so docker build hyphen t for tag, and I'll name this as a flask allow. Okay, my image name. Okay, since I have my docker file on the current directory, I'll just use dot here. Okay, it is for each instruction it will create a layer. Okay, so let's wait it. You can see one warning, right? Yeah, any idea why we are getting it? Do you know why we are getting this uh, warning? So if you open my docker file, you can see I have used label maintainer equal to like that, right? Actually, Docker recommends using label key and its value, right? Instead of the old legacy format. Okay, our Docker file currently has this. Okay, this is correct and already in the recommended format only. But Docker is confused because older Docker versions allowed like label maintainer, and you don't need to provide equal, and you can just provide your email. Okay, but why we are getting this error? Actually we have some space here, right? So we just fix this space. Okay, we just have to remove the maintainer label. Like what I can say, we just need to uh, instead of using label, we can go with the official recommendation. Okay, so instead of using label we can use instead of maintainer, okay, not label, instead of maintainer we can go with org.opencontainers.image.authors, like that we can use. Okay, and even you can remove space also. If you remove space also it will work, I hope. Just we will test this. Okay, so now we will try to run this. If it is not working, then we can go with org.opencontainers.image.authors. Okay, it is finished. Like just I'll go with Docker images. I'll delete all these images and we will build it newly. Okay, so we can know. So it will build from scratch. Okay. Since in last class we created few containers, right? Some of the images using that also. Just we will destroy everything. Okay, now I have deleted all the images. Now I'll build it again. Okay, it is finished. Okay, so the thing is, previously we have used some gap. Okay, so only we got that warning. Okay, so we can go with this as well as label is must. Okay, you can go with maintainer, or you can even use description, or you can use org.opencontainers.image.authors also. Okay, that is the official recommendation. Okay, so like if I type docker images, we can see the image, right? Now what's the next step? We have to run that, okay, into the container. So the command is docker docker run -d for detached mode to run the container process in the backend, -p for port. Okay, so host port 5000, and I'm just going to use container port also 5000. Okay, flask hello, this is my image name, right? If I type docker like a ps to check the running containers, you can see the running container here. Okay, here actually we are using aws virtual machine. Okay, so since we are using aws virtual machine, in your security group you need to allow port 5000, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go to your aws virtual machine, which and you have to go to associated security group. Okay, so and just click edit inbound rule and allow port 5000. Okay, and allow port 5000, so you can able to access this. Okay, I have already allowed it. Okay, so I can able to access it with the help of public ip of my ec2 machine. Okay, so if I that is simple, right? You just need to update the security group with 5000 port. Okay, you have to update your inbound rules. Okay, so once you've done that, just go to the browser. Okay, let me open browser, and your public IP and 5000 port. So you can see allow from Dockerfile deep dive. Okay, so this is the web page that we have built, we have containerized. Okay, you can even check Docker logs, you can using Docker logs and container ID. Okay, here you can check the logs. Okay, so we have deployed our application successfully. This is how you have to write your own Docker file. Okay, so I hope you understood, and while writing Docker file you need to follow some best practices. That best practice is to make Docker files efficient and secure. Use small images like Alpine to reduce size. Combine run commands to minimize layers. Use Docker ignore to avoid copying unnecessary files. Always pin versions. Okay, 3.9, 3.10, like that for consistency. Avoid running as a root when possible. Now you can see we have written a Docker file, but we haven't used root user. We just created our own user and we installed our app also in our user. Okay, so that is a good practice. Okay, so let's recap. Okay, we learned what a Docker file is and why we need it, and we broke down each instructions. Okay, from to uh, like all the 15 key instructions, and we built a real Flask app image. Okay, we just containerized the Flask app. Okay, and we covered best practices and debugging. And okay, so this is all about today. Okay, if you like this breakdown, subscribe to Cloud Ops Craft. We will simplify cloud and DevOps concepts every week. Thank you.